You're welcome to today's class. So today we are going to be talking about forecasting. It's not quite a long topic. At least two classes will be enough. Now, forecasting has to do with using scientific method to analyze data and predict what will happen in the future. There are two major tools that we can use to forecast data. One is time series analysis, and two is seasonal variation. So under series analysis, we'll be studying the trend. The trend is actually a particular way or form in which data relates to each other. The four components of time series are trend, cyclical variation, random fluctuation, seasonal variation. Now, seasonal variation is the difference between actual and observed data within the short run. Cyclical variation is a long-term variation that might cause variation over the long run, while random variation is any other variation that cannot be grouped in above. Now, for examination purposes, you might be required to identify trend and also seasonal variation. So the trend can be ascertained using a histogram to represent the data. Now this is a histogram. Using this histogram, we can be able to state categorically that this is a trend that is zigzag in nature. Drawing a straight line across this zigzag line curve is what we call trend. So you can see the common line amongst the scattered diagram in this histogram. So that is how trend can be established using a histogram. But we can also determine a trend using time series analysis. Good. Now there are two models under time series analysis. The first one is additive model and the second one is multiplicative model. Additive model is simply t plus x plus c plus r, while multiplicative model is t times x times c times r, where t stands for trend or seasonal variation, s stands for cyclical variation, and C stands for cyclical, R stands for random, YT stands for trend, and Y is the observed data. Now, analyzing trend time series, you have to estimate the trend line. You can estimate the trend line using regression equation. You can estimate the trend line using regression equation or using moving average. So today we will look at moving average. In our next class, we'll now look at linear regression analysis. So moving average. Now, I explained that moving average is used to estimate trend line when there is a seasonal variation. That is, when there is a short-term variation in the historical data, we can use moving average to do that. Now, we have 2 moving average, 3 moving average, and 4 moving average. But let's look at this practice question 4. The company operates for 5 days each week. Sales data for the most recent 3 weeks are as follows. See, so for the 3 weeks, they operate each day 5 days. So week 1, you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we now have week 1, 78, 83, 89, 85, 85. Then week 2, they also gave us. Week 3, they gave us. They now said we should determine the moving average. Now, I try to explain this using this explanatory note. This is a weekly sales, and each week has 5 days. Hence, for the solution to be preferred, the weeks needs to be put in a vertical structure followed by their corresponding days and sales value. Calculate the 5 days total because we assume that the cycle of sales is 5 days. Then calculate the 5 days moving average. Now, this is how it will be presented. Week 1. Now, under week 1, we have day 1 to 5. Week 2, we have day 1 to 5. Week 3, we have day 1 to 5. Then with their respective sales, in these respective sales, you are meant to take total. So how are you going to take total? You add the first 5 values. You add this value, 78 plus 83 plus 89 plus 85 plus 85. That will give you 420. The total will be written at the mid of the 5 numbers you added together. So the mid of the 5 numbers you added together is the third line from here. So the midline is the third line where this 420 is. Now to get 430, you add the second. You don't count the first number. You count 5 numbers following the first number. So you count 83 plus 89 plus 85 plus 85 again plus 88. That will give you 430. So to get this 450, you don't count the first 2 numbers. So you won't count 78, 83. So you add 89, you add 85, you add 85, you add 88, you add 93. That will give you 450. So in that order, you continue until you finish the adding. How do you now get the average? You now divide this total by 5. It will give you 84. Divide this total by 5. It will give you 86. Divide this total by 5. It will give you 88. Divide this total by 5. It will give you 90. That is how you get the average. Now, what is a trend? You can see that the average is increasing by 2. Is increasing by 2. 84 plus 2 will give you 86. 86 plus 2 will give you 88. 88 plus 2 will give you 90. That is the trend. So that is how trend is established. That's what we call it, trend analysis. So that is how it is. Now I explain all this here more, but we'll look at it. You look at it when you read all the stuff I've explained already theoretically and with verbally using mouth, so no need. So that is how trend is established. So we'll continue. Now we'll come to practice question 5. The requirement here is to calculate the 4 moving average and establish a trend line using the best of fit test. So you can see we have quarter 1, 2, 3. So we have quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have year 1, year 2, year 3. And each year contains 4 quarters. So in quarter 1 for year 1, the sales was 20,000. In quarter 2, year 2, in quarter 2, year 1, the sales was 24. In quarter 3, year 1, the sales was 27. In quarter 3 and 4th year 1, the trend was 31. In that order, for year 3 in quarter 4, the sales was 64,000. Now, before I started solving, I tried to explain the question, so I will try explaining more. The year will be written in the first vertical line, followed by the quarters in a second vertical line with the corresponding sales value in the vertical line following the quarter. The 4th vertical line will contain the 4 moving total, and the 5th vertical line will contain the 8 moving total. The last vertical line will be the 8 moving average, which is obtained by dividing the values in the 5th vertical line with 2. So this is how it is. just as we did in the first question. Year 1, you now have, this is the year, this is the quarter, this is the sales. So in year 1, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Hope you can see it. Good. Now with their respective sales, which you will pick, with their respective sales, which you will pick from the question. These are their respective sales in that order. You can see it. So now they ask us to get the 4 moving total, the 4 moving average. Before you calculate 4 moving average, each time the question requires you to get 4 moving average, this is how you do it. You add the first 4 numbers and write the total. To get the second total, you add the first 5 number, removing the first one, just as we did above. To get the third one, you add the first 6 numbers, removing the first 2. So that is how you do it. You understand? So it's easy. Let's start. You add 20 plus 24 plus 27 plus 31. That will give you 102. You write it in the, you write it in the second row. Now, why are you writing in the second row? You see, 4 is an even number. It doesn't have a middle. It's difficult to get a middle of 4. So you follow the one I'm teaching you. You write it in the second row. Then to get 117, are you there? You don't add the first number. You now add 24 plus 27 plus 31 plus 35. That will give you 117. To now get 132, you don't add the first 2 numbers. You start from 27 plus 31 plus 35 plus 39. You write it here, 132. Now, that is how you do until you finish up to 64. Now, the last 4 numbers is what you are to add here. The last 4 numbers is what you make deal with. These last 4 numbers is what you are to work with only. So after you add this 4 number, it will give you 29. Now you can see 3 numbers are remaining. You won't add them again because it's not up to 4. So that is how you work. Now you come back to 8 moving total. How do you get your 8 moving total? You come to the 4 moving total you've done. You say 102 plus 107 will give you 219. You write it in the third row, which is at the same level with 117. To get 249, you add 117 plus 132. I will give you 249. That is how you keep on doing it until the last one. Then to get the moving total, to get the moving average, so to now get your 8 moving average, divide this by 8. When you divide this by 8, you have this. When you divide this by 8, you have this. In that order until you are done. In that order until you are done, and that will give you this. Now you can observe that this number is increasing by a particular number. How do you get a particular number? You say 31.125 minus 27.375. You will see it's, all of them are increasing by a particular number. So let's go and prove that. Note, the trend line can be computed by finding the incremental or decremental rate of the 8 moving average. However, the incremental rates are not the same. Check yourself. When it is not the same, use high and low method to determine the incremental or decremental rate. Hope this makes sense to you. So this is high or low method. Now under this high or low method, identify the value here with the highest number. It is this 55.125. Identify the value with the lowest number, which I suppose is this 27.375. What is their corresponding quarter? Quarter 3 and quarter 10, I guess. Quarter 3 and quarter 12, sorry. So you come here. The highest number is quarter 10. How do we know it's quarter 10? How do we know it's quarter? So the highest number is 55125. Is quarter 10. How is it quarter 10? Because there are 3 years and 4 quarters in each year is 12. And this thing is at the 10th quarter. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one becomes 5, 6, 7, 8. This one becomes 9. This one becomes 10. So that is how we got our 10. Whereas this value is, the first value is at the 3rd row. So that is how we got it. So we'll go back to our high or low. You can see that the highest is 10 for quarter and lowest is 3. Value is this and value is this. So the difference will give you this. So we now have this value. So now to get our average moving increment will now be 27.750 divided by 7 will give us this. You know how 7 was gotten? Is this 7. So that is how we divided. So this becomes our incremental average. So the trend line is represented using this equation. Y is equal to the first moving average, which is 27.375. So Y is equal to it plus this moving average times X. So this becomes our value. So I hope that makes sense to you. So this is the trend line that we've established. So that is that for that on moving average. So we will look at the next subtopic under this in our next class. Thank you.